This is Monique with One Mo Project. Today we're going to set up our polymer clay earring party 101. I'm going to show you a few simple things you can do with polymer clay to make earrings. Now don't get me wrong, this is the very beginning, the 101. There are so many creative things you can do, but first you have to realize how easy it is and how much fun it can be. So I'm going to show you a few different techniques to do so that we can have a party. And at our party, we'll each make earrings. We'll have a partner and we'll make earrings with our partner, but then we're going to make more than we need so that we can share the ones that we make. So we want to make at least 4 sets of earrings each so that we can have one each, me and my partner, whoever that is, and then we can share with somebody. And if we can make more than 4, that'd be even better. Anyway, here are some simple techniques for our polymer clay earring 101 party. As soon as you get to the party, pick out a color that you're going to use for the base for your slab to cut from and cut off a chunk of it. This is a good amount to start with. It depends on the size of your earrings. Let me show you how we made these. The first thing we did was that clay that you cut off as soon as you got there, your color for the base. Condition it. That is, fold it, work out, make sure there's no air. It's kind of chunky and hard at first, and this will get it soft and warm and ready to use. And then make your little workstation. This is some parchment paper, just taped down to the countertop so that you have a place to work that you don't hurt the counter and it's pliable. Then these 2 pieces of plexiglass on either side are gauges to let you know how thick it is, and because the roller is on top of them, it controls how thick your clay is. When you cut out your shapes, push straight down, push hard, make sure you've gone all the way through. You don't have to wiggle it, you just want to push straight down. And then if you're going to need to put findings, that is like metal jump rings, little circle rings, you need to make sure you put holes for them. You'll have to decide at this point if you're going to glue your earrings on post backs or if you want to have them on fish hook loops, or if it's a 2-piece like this, you'll need the way to connect them together. Then you get rid of the extra that you don't need, and there's the first part. Now it does stain your fingers, so if you're changing colors and it's going to matter, you need to make sure you wash that off. But we're making a different pink, so it'll be fine. When you add white, add a little bit of your dark color and more white because it's going to go dark faster. Once you get that kneaded till it's all the way through, same thing. Roll it out using your gauges on the side for the thickness and then cut out the shapes you want. We're kind of going with a Valentine's thing here with some hearts. And this is going to need a hole at the top in order to attach to the pink heart, the bright pink heart that we already cut out. And there, now they're ready to bake. All right, the next pair that we're going to look at is these flowers. Now up until that point, everything was the same. This clay did not want to come off the paper as well. I don't know enough about it to tell you a magic trick for that. There's always the chance that you can take it off and knead it some more and roll it again. Otherwise, you can use the little tools and scrape it away. But you want to be sure and get the edges as neat as you can because baking isn't going to change them. They don't spread out like cookies. They just stay the same shape. For this pair, we're going to make a pattern on the top using some of our tools. And see how simple it is to just scratch on the top? And this way, it looks a little more like flowers because it's got that texture on the top. If you're not sure what you want it to look like, you could always draw it first on a piece of paper so that you can decide what kind of shape you might want to put if you're going for flowers or anything where you wanted to scratch it in and make details on the top. So we're going to do these pair of earrings where both of them are the same. That's one fun thing about the polymer clay. They don't have to be exactly the same. And it's kind of fun that way. It might have always matched exactly, so it's kind of fun that they might be just a little different. All right, now you can add a second layer. Now if you're going to do a whole layer, you might need to roll it. But if for just a little bit, you can add this thickness to it. And see how small that looked? Well, it's too big. That's one thing about the clay is it takes very little to accomplish things. So now we're going to make a center. We're going to smash it down just a little so it's more like a disc instead of a ball. And mashing it that hard is enough to make it stay attached after it's baked. So of course we're going to do one for that one and then poke a little hole in it. Now these did not want to come off of the paper. Remember how we had to work it? So because we're using this parchment paper, we can pick it up and manipulate it from the bottom and flex away the paper. Now look at this, look how fun that is. When you have these colors and you roll them right next to each other, see how at first they stick together but they make really sharp lines, which is a fun thing, that's a good thing. But we wanted it to blur together and kind of have a marbly sort of feel. That's why we put the little flecks back in there. But then we found that we really had to roll it a lot. We had to get serious with this. So we got rid of the gauges so we could smash it as much as we needed to and got a really hard roller. And now you can see how the edges sort of fade into each other instead of being that hard line. So then once we got to a place that we liked where it wasn't just a hard line between the two colors, we're going to cut out our shapes. We couldn't get that part off. We just moved away from it. We just abandoned that. Rolled it out with our gauges there so that we would get it the right thickness and cut out these cute earrings. But while we had it, we went ahead and cut out 2 more pairs. See what I mean? We can make more than we need. Peel away the extra and then decide which ones get holes so that you can have them attached to findings. And just the 2 teardrop shapes are going to have that. The other 2 are going to have straight posts. So now they're ready to bake. Look at this fun texture. Okay, we really went high tech now. We took buttons. It's hard to see that black one. So look at this silver one. See how it has this texture in it? We took these buttons and we just mashed them until they just put some dents in it. We didn't have to go all the way through or anything, but just until we had some dents, and then cut them out. How easy is that? And those are so fun. Those are going to hang on fish hooks, so we're going to poke holes in them before we get them ready to bake. Now look at this. Fancy, I know. The hearts are made the same way. The pink heart that has the red heart on it. I got my base layer completely ready, and then I made a snake. And I kept rolling it, and it was still too big. You had to make it so it was super thin before it was small enough. And it's kind of a fun thing to do. And then I just made these loops all around on top of the base. Now, you could just put them on there and kind of just tap them down a little and leave them where they were raised, but I wanted them to be smooth. So once I had my other snake done and finished making all the loops I needed, I took my roller and rolled over it just like once. I didn't go back and forth and try to blend the colors, just once to mash it in. And out of that tiny little piece of clay, I'm able to get 2 really cute pairs of earrings. Look at those. Gonna have to bake those. Now, after I baked them, I found that some of them, I didn't do a good job of getting them. So you have options here. One is to use some sandpaper, a pretty fine grit, that 320, and sand the edges. Some of the clay, it may leave it looking a little chalky looking where you have sanded it. It just depends on the clay. I don't know enough to tell you which clays exactly are going to work. But an X-Acto knife is another option, and to carefully just shave off that little bit of extra that was sticking out so that it's smooth. The tiniest little thing can bug you when it's hanging down and touching you on the neck. So we want to make sure that these sides are smooth. And so you can see that the clay is, even after it's baked, it's still kind of soft. All right, ready for assembly. These are jump rings, and when we open them, we twist. See how it twists instead of pulling it apart? I didn't pull it out, I twisted it. And I put the earring on there and then twisted it back. A little finagling to get it just right. And now, because there's only one jump ring in the direction these fish hooks face, I had to twist the earring part a little bit too so that they can face forward. Ready to go. Now, I'm going to glue these posts on the back of all of these cute earrings. Important, remember to turn them over and glue them on the back side, because that would be terrible. A little bit of this Gorilla Glue, place it on there. Let me say, I did not take the backs off of the earrings, and I found that I would have done better if I had. So take the backs off of the earrings before you do this. Some Gorilla Glue on the post, center it up on these circles, and those are ready to dry. It dries pretty quick for not falling off, but I would wait a day before I wore them. When you do these other shapes, you might want to put it more at the top and not out in the middle. Look at all these fun examples we have made for our party. You're not limited to making them like this, but these are our ideas. All right. I hope you've made a whole bunch of earrings and you have things to take home and that you wear them and then you take pictures of them and you show me and you have a lot of fun at the party. I thought it was a lot of fun to make earrings. Anyway, remember that in Isaiah we learned that God is our Father and that He is the potter and that we are the clay and we are the work of His hands. Let's be obedient to our potter, and hopefully your clay was obedient to you. Okay, I'll see you next time.